An actual niche version of Parfum de Marly's Altair, but from the brand of Lattafa. Is this possible? Well, let's talk about classic stone today. As I said in the beginning of the video, this may seem to a lot of people who can get their nose on this fragrance like a more niche version of Parfum de Marly's Altair. Altair is a great fragrance on its own, but a lot of people, me including, think that Altair smells more like a designer fragrance rather than smelling niche. And this has more going on its scent profile than Altair itself. Let me waste a spray or two on my right arm so I can talk about the opening, especially of this one. I've been wearing this throughout the day as well. Now the opening of this one is a lot more intense, it's a lot darker, and maybe and also as spicy as the original fragrance, but spicy in a different way. This lacks the airness, the white florals, the orange blossom note in the opening of Altair. This feels darker, this is more leathery. There's a suede leather note in this one, which is very prominent from the opening to the dry down. There's a bit of spiciness, quite a bit of spiciness. There's cardamom, there's some cumin, which is quite strong. There's a bit of pepperness. Maybe there's just a hint of freshness in the opening of this one. You'll get some of the vanillic sweetness, but to me the most prominent notes are those spicy notes, the cardamom and the cumin, that suede leather note, a bit of that vanilla amber, which is a vanilla sweetness, which is accompanied by some ambers. And also in the opening of this one there's a strong coffee note, which is not listed in the note breakdown of this fragrance, but it's definitely there. And in the opening, that coffee note smells like a freshly baked coffee beans. It's a bit sharp, it's a bit bitter, and just adds a bit of seriousness and just an additional layer along with the leather on top of what you find in the original fragrance. Now the more this fragrance dries down, the slightly sweeter it becomes, although it's never in its life as sweet as Altair itself. And also this carries different type of sweetness because this has some vanilla just like the original fragrance, although again I don't think the vanilla is listed. The stronger sweet note, sweeter note is the ambery note. The suede leather note is still present throughout of the life of this fragrance, and on its dry down this still remains quite strong on the coffee note, but the coffee note changes a little bit. On the dry down becomes a little bit sweeter, a little bit softer, a little bit smoother, and gets rid of some of that bitterness that you'll find in the opening. If the opening, the coffee note smells more like freshly baked coffee beans, on the dry down this smells a little bit like a latte note, so it's like a softer, sweeter coffee note. The dry down, in the dry down you'll find some woody notes, there's a bit of musks as well, but to me the dry down is mostly about the combination of the leather, of the ambers with a hint of vanilla and still some of that coffee and also a hint of musks. All around this is a very interesting interpretation, a very interesting inspiration of Altair. This is not a straight up clone of Altair, and this definitely smells a lot darker, a lot more serious, maybe even a lot more masculine than Altair itself. It's a very interesting creation that I don't think can be perceived as clone. It's more like an inspiration, more like a heavy twist, and I really like what Lattafa have done with the scent profile. When it comes to performance, this is a strong performing scent. Now, there aren't that many reviews on Fragrantica, for example, but most people report strong or beastly performance. In my personal experience, this has not been like a super beastly, but I've been easily getting at least 8, 9, maybe even over the 9 hours mark when it comes to performance total longevity, which is in my books a strong scent. And also this projects quite nicely in the first, I would say, about 2 hours. So absolutely no issues with this fragrance performance wise. It's more on the stronger side. Price wise, now this may depend on where you live in the world. Usually around here, niche Emrati fragrances are a little bit more expensive. They usually cost somewhere between 50 to 60 euros, so you're looking like 50, 60, 70 dollars. But personally I was able to get this one for around about 40 euros, so around about $45, and at that price point I think it's a pretty good deal considering how interesting and really niche this one smells. And when it comes to versatility, this is a darker fragrance than Altair itself, so I can't imagine someone wearing this one in hot weather. I would say this is more a cold weather fragrance, and I would also say that this is more suited for a nighttime usage. And at the end, the usual few final words when it comes to classic stone from the Lattafa niche Emrati line. This one was a very interesting pickup, a surprisingly interesting fragrance. I can't say that it's an absolute love for me scent-wise, but definitely I found it very, very interesting. I read online that this is similar to Althair, pretty similar to Althair, so I was curious to try it out. And it turned out to be not so similar, as much similar as I expected it to be. This takes the Althair idea, this takes the base of the Althair scent profile, but adds a few layers on top of it, making it smell a lot more niche, a lot more interesting. The addition of the leather note, the addition of the coffee note, the ramped up ambery sweetness, the less florals that this one has, the less freshness and aromaticness that this one has, definitely make this a very interesting scent and something that smells more niche in my opinion than Althair. For example, I would think of this one as being like let's say Althair Absolu or Althair Exclusive or Althair Elixir, something like that. This is like the older, the more serious, the bigger brother of Althair. All around, again, this was a very interesting sort of an addition to my collection. If you like how Althair smells, and if you also like notes like coffee, like suede leather, like ambers, then you may find this one interesting. If you're looking for, if you sort of are attracted in a way by the way that Althair smells, but you find it to be a little bit too, how to say, a little bit too designer, again, you can probably check this one out. Keep in mind that this can be a little bit on the challenging side, or a little bit more on that unique side. So if you can test this one, if you can get a sample of this one before you buy it, do it, in my opinion. But overall, I found this one to be a very interesting fragrance. And so guys, in today's video I talked about a very interesting release from the brand of Lattafa, which is called Classic Stone, and it's part of the niche Emrati line, which turned out to be a very interesting fragrance. I hope that you found today's video interesting. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me in my next video for your dose of some fragrance content. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.